So, our keynote for this hour is the Vice President of OSM, Alexander Metzler. His topic is Joomla in Perspective. So Alexander and I are actually kind of bunking together this weekend, and he is an interesting guy. So I asked him, so what's one fun thing about you? And he said, I don't have any fun things. Which isn't true, which is not true. He is deeply into nature and a healthy lifestyle. His idea of fun, get this, okay? Going out into the wilderness, sitting by a stream and listening to life in the jungle. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. I live on a farm, and I like to go out and smell horse manure. I mean, that's what I get for fun, you know? I mean, to each his own, right? No, we're really excited about Alexander here. His presentation is on the different perspectives of Joomla, how the client feels, how the community feels. And one of his passions is actually, in all seriousness, is helping people reconnect with the world around them. So Alexander, come and present to us, and we're really happy to have you here today.
So far we see nothing. That's interesting. Okay, here we go. Yeah, nice. Thank you for coming here. Pleasure. And it's also the room for lunch later, right? So I'm very lucky that you're here. Well, I'm very, very new in my role as Vice President, and yeah, there are so much things to learn in the role of Vice President. So many new things. All the acronyms, for example, and all the chats. I mean, there's something like JO, COC, CGO, CGM, REP. A whole new world for me to listen to all these acronyms and to understand all this. But also events which I had no idea so far. Even on my own doorstep. In Germany, that's where I came from, for those who can hear it from my bad accent, there's a university. And in this university in Germany, once a year, the web programming weeks take place there. And I asked myself, what are these web programming weeks? Well, there are 2 weeks which where the students spend 2 weeks of their holidays working for and with Joomla. Young people, voluntarily, 2 weeks of their holidays. I mean, wow, how cool is that? And at the end of the 2 weeks, I was allowed to attend the final presentation as JVP, which is also a very cool acronym. And the students talk about the challenges and the solutions in the different projects. And one student told us that he spent a whole day for fixing one line of code. A whole day for one line. And seen like that, Joomla is sometimes like real life. There's not always the fast lane. Sometimes it depends on the smallest detail. And effort, time, endurance, and passion must be invested for a good result. And after this day, on my way home, I said to myself, as long as there are young people who work with Joomla with that passion, Joomla has a future. It's simple as that. It's a very simple fact. Today, 2019, JoomlaDay, Florida. Welcome. Meeting of our American friends, visit from other countries and continents. Yeah, that's fantastic. Family reunion. That's a word I always hear when we're talking about the Joomla community. Many friends who come together once a year. But also new people, fresh, motivated Joomlers, who are not yet known and maybe not yet have so many contacts. Who's brand new today in the community? Yeah, I see a lot of you yesterday at the beginning class. It was a very good sign. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I can still remember the year 2011 very well. That was my first JoomlaDay in Germany, in Hamburg. And I was alone there and I knew absolutely nobody there. I still remember one guy talking on the stage about Joomla.org. Joomla.org? Never heard of it, no plan. In 2011, there were a lot of Joomla forums and help pages in Germany, and I had no idea which were official and which were not. And what for? I mean, somewhere I found help somehow, even if the way there was sometimes difficult and, yeah, let's say a little bit frustrating. As a beginner, you first have to be able to describe a problem in a way that others can understand and to be able to help it all. And sometimes I read this interesting answer in the forum. UTFS. Wow, UTFS sounds nice. First I have to use the search. What that means. Ah, UTFS. Use the fucking search. Wow. I mean, it's more than UTFS, idiot, right? UTFS, so translated, it would be extremely obliging if you, before formulating your question, would briefly search the forum, because unexpectedly often the problem is already known and the solution is described in detail elsewhere. Thank you very much, your community. UTFS! Wow. Yes, sometimes the tone is a bit rough. And this is understandable. If a professional with years of experience answers the same beginner question 1,000 times and knows that the answer is easy to find, if the other was only smart or, let's say, hardworking enough to search. But even that is something the beginner has to learn first. And I also had that need for communication at the beginning. That was cool. I mean, strangers who helped me with my Joomla problems. A great experience. How cool is that? And I also saw that my problem was unique and that the solution would bring the entire Joomla project miles forward. Which, of course, wasn't the case. This phenomenon is called different perspectives. On the one hand, there's the beginner who slowly orients himself in the jungle of information. On the other hand, the professional who has already seen everything with a lot of experience. Different perspectives. Different perspectives. What is Joomla anyway? What is Joomla? Sorry, who would say Joomla is an open source system for creating and managing websites? Who would say that? Yeah, most. Yeah, it's definitely right. Who would say it's a business model for agencies and self-employees? Yes, right, it is. A market for developers and designers to earn money from templates, components, and plugins. Yes, it is. A community. Of course it is a community. A hobby. Yeah, sometimes it's a hobby. And even a worldwide connection between people across language and country borders. Yes, it is. And here we can see there is not only answer, numerous perspectives. And depending on which perspectives we look at Joomla from, the answer is more or less applied to our own opinion. There we have the perspective of the community, volunteers, who give a portion of the free time to advance the software, improve, fix bugs, make them look better, make them more functional, test them, translate them, document them, and so on and so on. Volunteers. I mean, that's almost a word from another time. And our community is rightly proud of the volunteers. This concept is great on the one hand. On the other hand, it slows Joomla's progress from time to time. Voluntarily, that means everyone gives a little time when time is available. But time is not available unlimited. We have to pay our rent, fill the fridge, pick up the children from kindergarten, take care of our customers, and so on and so on. Time becomes more precious year after year in a world where everything is developing faster and faster. And that is why the community considering paying some work and positions with controversial discussions. And this is a good thing because all advantages and disadvantages should be carefully considered and discussed. And do justice to everyone is a nice idea, but in the end, unfortunately, impossible. Nevertheless, Joomla couldn't do without the many shoulders of the volunteers. And to welcome and guide new motivated helpers, that is the job of the experience, the leaders, of course, all volunteers. And of course, it takes time to explain a task to someone. And yes, the first time you would have done it first to yourself, maybe the second time, but the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. When new Joomlers need time and make mistakes, wonderful! From mistakes we can learn. That's the way we become better and better. And finally, the beginners can help to improve the project. And we, the community, we have to support and help them. Constructive communication. Constructive communication. That's one of the biggest challenges in a large community. Remember the beginning of my speech? The university story? On the one hand, the students were very proud to be in contact with some big names from the Joomla world in a short time. On the other hand, there is sometimes a rough tone here and there, like UTFS. Different characters, different languages, different continents, a different sense of humor. In Germany, for example, we have no sense of humor at all. Oh, joke is working perfectly. Thanks. Sometimes it's not so easy. We are talking about a community that is spread all over the world, and that's something to be proud of. For around 14 years now, Joomla has existed in a market that changes over and over again. And everything becomes faster and faster. And we have to adapt. Are here any web designers in the house? Hands up. Any web designers? Oh, whoa, some, yeah. Which of you has still made design with table-based layout? Yeah, some. Newsletters as well today, but templates with table-based layouts. Good old time, right? The good old times where everything was beautiful. Yeah. When I talk to young designers today and tell them that I used to work with table layouts, they are amazed. What, really? Table-based layouts? Cool, amazing. Yes. And sometimes I'm sitting in a rocking chair with a long white beard. And I tell about the good old times, how beautiful all it was. And my great-grandson listened to me with his mouth open, and he asked me, "Grandpa, what is this table-based layout?" And I will put my hand on his head, and I will say, UTFS! I mean, table-based layouts were used until the middle of the year 2000, let's say. Then came CSS, then came responsive, new browsers, new anti-devices. This came, that came, and our world has become faster and more complex. In the past, a web designer was simply a web designer. He designs websites, right? Today, a web designer is a consultant, a planner, a UX specialist, data analyst, system administrator, graphic designer, search engine expert, hosting expert, and in Germany, half a lawyer. And he uses numerous online tools, frameworks, and libraries to make his work easier, to work faster and more efficiently. Are we working faster and more efficiently? Yeah, maybe, perhaps. Once we have found a workflow that works, we use it and don't run after the next trend again. But sometimes this leaves us with the unpleasant feeling of losing touch, the pressure to always keep up to date, to always educate, to always learn. For some, this is a matter of course. For others, maybe it's too fast, too much. And for those, the advice, concentrate on your own strengths. Give tasks that you don't enjoy to someone else. Join together. The word Joomla comes from Swahili and means together. I mean, this beautiful brand are different people who hold each other, support each other, form alliances. There are complex problems out there and looking for complex solutions. And let's be honest, for the small sport clubs, or the flower shop, or the baker around the corner, there are other tools in the market as well. Simply solutions. And they are not bad as they were some time ago. With Joomla, we have to do the hard shit. Solve individual problems. Offer help. And here we go. This is the business perspective. The perspective of the agencies. Of course, I don't know the market in other countries as well, but in Germany, the Joomla market consists mainly of freelancers and small companies with 2 or let's say 3 employees. Just a few weeks ago, an agency with 10 employees who exclusively do Joomla appeared. Funny enough, not far away from my own office. 10 employees, that's a good sign, at least for the German Joomla market. And for those who are worried about the market, let me say, there are numerous company websites with Joomla out there. And these companies are used to Joomla. They like Joomla. They have invested time, money, and know-how in Joomla. And they don't want to leave Joomla. But they're one professional agency that solves their problems, guides them, and is simply there for them. And we have to offer these solutions, otherwise the companies will look for another agency. And this agency might not work with Joomla and sell the client another product. Something that the customer actually didn't want, but the alternative was missing. And already the customers lost for our business and for Joomla. This market means for the agencies that there is a lot of money to be made. The market is there. If you don't want to build up your own know-how with Joomla, perfect. Bring external competence into your company. I mean, the room here is full of competence, right? Create win-win situations. And this brings us to the customer's perspective as part of the win-win. So actually it's a win-win-win situation. Because the customer gets a professional product, a modern website that helps him to market his products. Perfect. At the end, I would like to throw an idealistic perspective on Joomla. Joomla, that means free access to our own platform. An own voice, an aspect that we should not underestimate. Joomla is a free software for everyone, translated in around 75 languages. A free website for species protection in Europe, for knowledge exchange in Africa, forest protection in South America, school sites in Asia, and so on, around the planet. And from this perspective, Joomla is a product that improves the world a bit. And that means we all here are part of a bigger one. And we could be proud of that. Well, I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. UTFS, thank you very much.